Hello and welcome to Talking Whiskey. My name is Grant and today we're going to be talking the Classic Laddie. So the Classic Laddie is made by Buirchladdich and they're an Islay distillery and they were first founded back in 1881. Now they're currently owned by Remy Cointreau and they've kind of got a reputation in Islay and in Scotland in itself as being one of the more innovative distilleries at the moment. And the Classic Laddie is kind of their base flagship, this is what we're about malt. So, well, let's get it poured because this is a whiskey I adore. Just putting that up front. Now the first thing to say about it is, they say it's an unpeated whiskey. So whatever I'm going to say next, bear that in mind. It's unpeated. Just putting that out there. So, as with always with my tastings, I'll do a minimum of 3 notes in the nose and a minimum of 3 notes in the taste. Let me know what you guys get in the comments as well. It'll be interesting to find out what you guys think. But let's dive into the nose. Oh. First things first. I know I said it's unpeated, but that smells like peat. And I don't know why, because it's not peated, but that smells like peat. Oh, that is so good. Okay, so my brain is interpreting it as peat smoke. Despite what the bottle and the tin and everything says, it's not peat smoke. So I think I need to try and break down what's going on here because what my brain is saying and what's really in it are two completely different things. So the first thing I'm getting is I'm getting a lot of this kind of real sea salt, peaty, earthy, peat, I'm saying peat again. Every time I say peat, ignore me. But that's what I'm getting. Yeah, like a real sea salt kind of coastal vibe. You know what it makes me think? It makes me think like you're walking along the edge of a coast, but it's like not a beach, but a mudded cliff or an earthed cliff. That's what it's making me think of. I'm trying to stay away from peat, but I'm thinking peat. And you've got a lot of this malt note in there as well. It's quite savoury. You've got a punch of black pepper in there too. Oh. I've been looking forward to doing this one because the Classic Laddie, I mean, it says in the name, it's classic. It's absolutely brilliant. And also, come on, can we just take a minute to appreciate the bottle? Like, how loud of a colour is that and yet still looks really cool? Can we just appreciate that for a second? Because I think it's a really good bottle. Oh, right, let's go for a taste. Okay, so that real earthiness, that kind of peat, not peat, but that earthiness, that sea salt is there, but on the taste you've got a lot more sweetness, like a sugary kind of sweetness going on, a little bit of caramel going on in there, kind of a salted caramel, but for me, I think that the sea salt and the caramel are quite separate as opposed to being two things that are definitely together as salted caramel. They do feel quite separate. Oh, that's... I'm enjoying this. Give me a minute. And that black pepper is there as well. The black pepper kind of spikes up at the end. So you've got that earthy sweetness going on, then there's that spike of black pepper. That sea salt is all the way through it. I know I've said that a few times, but it's definitely all the way through it. And that kind of, that kind of malted barley note definitely shows up in there. Now something they do say is that they use 100% Scottish barley. Now, let me explain why that's kind of significant. A lot of barley that is used in Scotch doesn't necessarily come from Scotland. A lot of it actually comes from England. And a lot of it comes from the southeast, kind of, yeah, southeast area. There's a lot of really good barley that they make. Then they ship it up to Scotland, and Scotland then make whiskey out of it. But Buirchladdich are quite prominent with trying to use as much Scottish barley as they can in places. And now where they do the innovations, they do some organic barley, that kind of stuff. So that they're quite on the forefront of promoting things that are Scotland and quite innovative on things that they're doing with barley and the different strains of barley itself. Now I think, again, it could be something that's primed because it's told me it's Scottish barley. I think there is a definite distinction with this when I've got that malty barley note in there. But again, that could be just their entire stilling process, the aging process and everything. So that could be something completely different. But for me, it's coming across quite distinct and quite different. And another thing as well, so bearing in mind this is kind of their, I want to say their base range, is kind of their entry level into the distillery. This is coming in at 50%, so this is not your average entry level into a distillery. This is coming in at a fairly decent ABV, but it doesn't taste it. To put that out there, there's a very little burn going on. There's a very little impact where you drink it and you go, oh, that's 50% alcohol. There's not a lot of that going on. Oh, that's really good. So going back to that taste that time, there was a little bit more of that sweetness there. And it definitely stays in the mouth. And it stays in the mouth with a mixture of savory with a caramel sweetness going on. So the best way to describe it for you is the savory sticks to the side of my mouth, but the sweet sticks to my tongue. That's kind of the best way to describe it. But I think that is outstanding. It's a really interesting whiskey. And I know they say it's not peated, but there is definitely what feels like a peat in it. Now, I know that's not true. Now, whether they, do you know what it could be? Now, I am completely guessing here. It could be that they may be using barrels that have had peated whiskey in them. And they're some of the barrels that they use to then blend it all together. But the barley itself is unpeated. That could be a way around it. I don't know. If anybody does know, please let me know in the comments, because I think they're lying to us. But that's a different story. Right, let's try it with some water. Let's see what happens. So as always, do a wee drop. There we go. Back in April 2019, they actually announced that they're going to do their own malting on site on Islay at the distillery, because currently at the moment a lot of their malting happens in Inverness. They've got a separate load of people or subsidiary or whatever that do the malting in Inverness. So they've announced that they are going to do their malting on site now. So now it's had a little bit of time. Let's see what's happened to it with a little drop of water in it. Ooh. Okay, so again, I want to say peat, but it's not peat. But what feels like the peat has been ramped up a huge amount. Oh yeah, that's definitely given a lot more aggression in it. So that kind of earthy note, that sea salt note has been kicked up to the front. And I want to say smoke, I want to say peat smoke, and I know it's not, but I keep coming back to it, and I've said it numerous times. I know I have, but I want to keep saying it. That caramel is there as well. You've still got that barley note in there. You've got a little bit of like a black pepper spice as well on the back end of it too. That is really good. Oh. Oh. Can words describe how good that was? I don't know, but we'll give it a go. So those earthy sea salt, what I'm interpreting as peat smoke, even though it's not peat smoke, have been ramped up, but they're no longer spiky, where they're quite separate. Those notes have been, so let's say that's the base range of the notes, and you've got spikes of earth, sea salt, peat, caramel. The earth, the sea salt, and the peat, yes, I know it's not peat, have gone like that, but instead of being spiky, they've been rounded off a little bit. So it's still ramped it up, but it's rounded it a little bit. I think that's the best way I can describe that. And on the taste as well, you've got that black pepper has come out a lot more as well. So it's been changed from quite a more of a back end note of black pepper to black pepper all the way through. So nothing that they say is that they don't do chill filtering with it either. And chill filtering is just a process that you do with some scotches and some distilleries do in Scotland, but this is a non-chill filtered whiskey. Right, so to sum up, I would say if you are an Islay fan, this is definitely up your alley because it will trick you, and yet it's still what I would think would be a classic Islay, even though it's not a classic Islay. I think if you're looking for something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more complex, a little bit more going on in the glass other than some maybe light sweetness or something, this is definitely something to go to. The Classic Laddie is really good. It's uniquely interesting in that you've got a lot going on with what you might be interpreting as smoke, even though they say on the bottle it's not. So you've got to try and almost retrain your brain purely for this whiskey, for what they say with it, and I think for that reason, and that reason alone, it's outstanding for what it does. It kind of tricks you into thinking something that it's not, but it's really good. I would say if you're fairly new to whiskey, unless you know you like Islay whiskey, this might not be the one for you. If you're more into the whiskey scene, you're wanting to try some more Isleys, trying some more aggressive, interesting whiskies, definitely give this one a go because it is really, really interesting. I'm just going back to the nose, sorry. I know I'm trying to sum up, but I'm going back to it because I just find it that good. Anyway, let me finish now. Give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments as well. Let me know what you think of it. Give me some notes what you believe. If you think you're finding peat, please let me know. And let me know that I'm not a stranger with this. But thank you anyway, and cheers.